Hello, I'm Mark Newton from the School of Photography, and I've got the pleasure of working with the Amateur Photographer magazine on their Amateur Photographer of the Year 2025 awards. There are 10 rounds in the awards, and in each round I'm going to give you my free top tips to inspire you and hopefully help you get great pictures. Round 3 is close-ups and details. And my first tip here is lenses and extension tubes. So if you're going to get into this type of photography more, then now might be the time to invest in a macro lens. Now every brand of camera will have their own default macro lens, and a quick internet search will find the one for your brand of camera. And essentially what they do is reduce your minimal focus distance, which enables you to get extremely close to the subjects you are photographing without them going blurry or out of focus, etc. They also have wider apertures which will let in more light into your camera, and in turn that will enable you to make your shutter speed faster and bring your ISO down, which will help you get them crisp, sharp shots, especially if you are hand holding. Now you don't actually need to buy a macro lens, they can be quite expensive. You can use something called an extension tube. And again, a quick internet search for extension tubes for your camera brand will get the one up that you need. And what they do is they fit between your camera body and your lens. And that moves the lens further away from the body and in turn magnifies the light hitting the sensor. Now there is some downsides to this. When you move your camera lens away from the body, you are reducing the light that's hitting the sensor. And therefore you will need to compensate for that by making a slower shutter speed, upping your ISO, having wider apertures, etc. As a general guide, you will lose one stop of light for every 40% of extra focal length that you get. So for instance, if you put an extension tube on a 100mm lens, you're turning it into a 140mm lens, and you're going to lose a stop of light. Now that is just a general guide. In reality, what it means is that you're going to need a lot of light when using extension tubes, or you're going to have to up your ISO. My next tip is focus stacking. Now, focus stacking is the process of taking several images of the same thing where the plane of focus moves through the object. Then in post-processing software, you combine all of them images to create one sharp image. And stacking is done because when you are photographing something so close, your depth of field is really, really shallow. So if you want the whole of that object to be sharp, or a big part of that object to be sharp, then you're going to need to use the stacking technique and merge them stacked images in post-processing. Now it's fairly easy to actually merge them in post-processing software. Photoshop has its own function, for instance. It's actually taking the stacked images that's the hard thing. If you're new to stacking, I would recommend using a tripod and a focus rail. And all you need to do between each picture is move your focus rail by 1mm or even less between each shot. Some modern cameras have focus stacking built within the camera body, and the camera will automatically take several pictures and change the focus plane between each of those pictures. But that can be a bit hit and miss, so obviously make sure you practice with it first. Now you can also do handheld focus stacking, and that is where you fix your focus. So you have it on manual focus and you fix it in one place. You put your drive onto high speed burst. That's when the camera takes, several pictures per second. You find your object, you press your shutter release down. It takes a burst of images as you physically move forwards or backwards towards and away from the object. Now that is an advanced technique. It takes a lot of practice, but if you want a challenge, go for it. Now, if you want to master macro photography, stacking, etc., we have got a whole in-depth course on macro photography over at the School of Photography. My next tip is focus versus shutter versus ISO. Now, over all the years I've been teaching photography, which is 23 years now, I've seen one common mistake with macro and close-up photography again and again and again. And that is that the images look soft. You know, they don't look sharp and crisp like the ones that you see on the internet. Now, the go-to response from a beginner photographer is that the picture is out of focus. That could well be the case, but often it's not. It's because of shutter speed or ISO. The shutter speed, for instance, could be too slow, particularly if you are using higher focal lengths like a macro lens and you're hand holding. Now, you would think 500th of a second, for instance, would be fast enough. And sometimes it is. It just depends on how still everything is in that moment in time. But believe it or not, fast shutter speeds, like 500th of a second, you can still get what's called camera shake. And that will make your image look slightly soft. Now, you can use a tripod to help combat that, but you also need to use a remote trigger or your 2-second timer when you're doing that as well, because pressing the shutter release, even when you're on a tripod, is going to make the camera move slightly and could give you camera shake. So make sure, if you're using a tripod, you're using a remote trigger or a 2-second timer. If you're hand holding, make sure you're using a really fast shutter speed if you're zoomed in, okay? If you're zoomed out, then you can lower the shutter speed a bit, but if you are zoomed right in, you're going to need to use a fast shutter speed. Now, personally, I wouldn't go below 500th of a second. If you can, go higher than that. And then the next thing to talk about is ISO. Now, again, if you're using a fast shutter speed, it depends on the light. You're going to need lots of light. If you haven't got lots of light, you're going to need to up the ISO. And that can make the image look soft, particularly on a crop sensor or a micro 4/3 camera. So try to keep your ISO as low as possible. 400, ISO 400 or under. If you need to go to 800, then that should be the limit really, but no more if you're looking for them crisp, sharp images. So just to recap there, if you are getting images that look really soft, it might be because you got it out of focus, but it also might be because you've got camera shake, and it also might be because you've got a high ISO. Now, the easiest way to check them things while you're shooting is to press play on the back of your camera, view the image and zoom right into the image and just check that it's nice and sharp and nice and crisp. Now, if you want to learn photography or editing, please come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com and check out our online courses. There is a link in the description of this video which will take you there. Also, if you want to enter the Amateur Photographer of the Year award, there is a link in the description for that as well, and that will tell you all about the competition and prizes. Good luck. I'm Mark Newton, and remember, if you want to learn photography properly, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com.